Geometry 1, Chapter 2 Test, Skill 3. Be able to identify the next three numbers, letters, or pictures in a pattern. Now patterns are a little tricky because sometimes they're very, very easy to see, sometimes they are harder to see, and it's really impossible to cover every single pattern that you'll ever see in your life. But we're going to do a couple of examples here of some of the easier ones, the more common ones that you might see in a math class. So the first example, identify the next three numbers in the pattern. 64, 32, 16 are the first three numbers. So we need to find some relationship between 64 and 32. The question is, did we add a number to get from 64 to 32? Well, no, because the number got smaller. So if we added, then we really added a negative number, which is really just subtraction. 64 minus 32, the difference is subtracting 32. From 32 to 16, we subtracted 16. Now that's not a very easy pattern to follow because the number that we subtracted each time changed. So I would try something else. What else can make a number smaller? Well, division, if you divide a number, it can get smaller. So the question becomes, what did we divide 64 by to get to 32? We can always check 64 divided by 32 is actually 2. So what that means is that we could divide by 2 to get from 64 to 32. What about from 32 to 16? Well, 32 divided by 16 is also 2. Well, that's interesting. We now have something where we divided by 2 to get from the first number to the second, and we divided by 2 to get from the second to the third. There's a pattern. We can now continue dividing by 2 each time. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. That's our next number. Now we can divide by 2 again. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And one more time, divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now in this case we divided by 2. You could also multiply by 2. If you multiplied by 2, you would expect your numbers to get bigger each time. You might see that they double or triple or quadruple each time. We could add a number each time instead of subtract, but then again your numbers would be getting bigger. Here the pattern 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, dividing by 2 each time. Now the second type of problem you're likely to see here is to identify the next three pictures in the pattern. And you'd be given something like this. An arrow pointing to the right, an arrow pointing down to the right, an arrow pointing down, an arrow pointing down to the left, and an arrow pointing to the left. The important thing to remember here with the patterns is that we're not judging you on your drawing skills. We're judging you, we're grading you based off of your ability to find the pattern. So draw the best you can, try to stay as true to the picture as you can, but no need to pull out a ruler or tracing paper or anything like that. So we go to the right, we go down diagonally, straight down, down to the left, left. Well, it seems to me that each time that we move a picture, the arrow gets turned just a little bit in the clockwise direction. More importantly, it doesn't quite get turned 90 degrees, it's getting turned 45 degrees, an eighth of a turn each time. So here, where the arrow is pointing to the left, we're going to turn it again, and it'll be pointing to the upper left, and it'll look something kind of like this. Then we turn it again clockwise, and it's going to be facing straight up. So it might look something kind of like this. And then one more time, it'll be facing to the upper right, something kind of like that. So a 45-degree turn each time in the clockwise direction takes it from pointing to the left to the upper left, and then the upper right.